DeathsStalker here. So if you remember my last video about the first race at Aragon, I mentioned that Crutchlow had a problem just shortly after the start, and I didn't quite know what it was. Well, they got the LCR Honda team got on Facebook and also on Twitter and mentioned that Cal suffered from a slipping clutch, and I can tell you from experience, slipping clutch on a race bike is horrid. Generally what happens is most motorcycles, like even 4-strokes, they do have a power band where they start to make the majority of the horsepower, and when you have a slipping clutch, that's when the clutch starts to slip most of the time, and the end result is you see your RPMs going up and you're not going any faster. And the MotoGP bikes, like my old 250, I'll put a picture up here so you can see it, they have a dry clutch, and that's the type of clutch that's not inside the engine like on most 4-strokes that use oil as sort of a lubrication slash adhesive for the clutch plates. But the dry clutch just uses air, and the advantage of the air is the air helps cool the clutch. The clutch, if it's actually in the engine oil, is just going to get hotter as the race progresses, so they're trying to keep the heat away from the engine. And more importantly, if you have a problem with the clutch, you can quite easily swap out the clutch plates. Literally, it can take, if you have all the tools ready, probably 2 minutes to swap out a worn clutch for a new clutch. And Cal said he had a problem with the clutch slipping on warm-up. I don't know if it was, maybe it was not quite adjusted properly, or if maybe the plates were just showing the signs that maybe it was something in either in the electronics affecting it, and they had made some adjustments, and actually at the launch his clutch worked really good until he went into second gear and it started to slip, and it took a while before the clutch actually started to work. So I'm almost of the opinion that it was a brand new clutch and it hadn't been worked in yet. These race bikes, the clutches, they have a set life. Everything in racing is documented, like when you change like spark plugs, like even the valves in the rims for the air pressure, they're all documented, and things are changed according to whatever the engineers or experience said these things have to be done. Now clutches, they're a wear item, just like your tires. They last for X number of laps. That's generally how they do it. But the problem with clutches is that they're used really hard on the starts. And if you ever watch a MotoGP race weekend, you'll notice that after every practice session, there's areas in the track where the riders can stop and practice their starts. And it's a way to help the teams and the riders set up the launch control for the bikes, so that when they actually do start for the race, they will start properly. And I'm not exactly certain what the life was on these clutches. I can tell you what my 250 clutches are. They actually put it in the Honda manual from HRC, how long they're expected to last. Generally, if you didn't abuse them, they would last usually 1 to 2 weekends, like race weekends. But these bikes are putting out a lot more horsepower and they weigh a lot more, so I wouldn't be surprised for them to be going through clutches probably maybe 2 on a weekend. So unfortunately, Cal had a slipping clutch. You know, it sucks. I've had a slipping clutch as well. There is actually, because my race bike is a 2-stroke, there is actually an adjuster where the clutch cable is, where I could actually adjust the clutch play. And sometimes if you have enough adjustment during the race, you can actually adjust it. It's not something you want to do, but if you're having a clutch problem. But actually one of my races, the entire clutch basket, the whole assembly that holds all the plates in place, it's held in place by a nut that has to be torqued to a specific torque value. And unfortunately for me, we didn't have the proper basket holding device that HRC sells, and we were at the racetrack. My engine had seized and we were rebuilding it, so we had to put the clutch back in. And you know, we thought we had it torqued, but about 3 laps into the race, got on the main straightaway where, you know, I would normally be doing 150 miles an hour, and all I got out of the engine about into third gear was just noise and no go. And that was my clutch basket. Nut had backed off, and it ended my race. And so I know the pain that Cal was going through. Of course, more to him, because there's bonuses for how you finish in races at that level. So unfortunately for him, that was you know, he had potential probably to be on the podium at least, if not win the race, but it was not to be. So anyways, this weekend, Aragón 2, it's supposed to be a little bit warmer, so maybe you'll have a few less crashes. DeathsStalker signing off.